Hello, my name's Alex Connell and I'm the Principal Tutor at the Cordon Vert Cookery School, which is based at the Vegetarian Society in Cheshire. Today I'd like to show you how to make crispy tofu sweet and sour. For this recipe I'm going to use smoked tofu. So the first stage is to get our tofu cooking. Now with tofu it will come in a block of water, so it's important to take out as much of that water as you can. So simply press it gently on a paper towel and that will absorb the water. When you've pressed out as much as you think you can get out, then we can slice it into pieces. When you're slicing tofu, use a very sharp knife and be careful as you slice it because it is quite fragile and you don't want it to fall apart. I've got a frying pan here with a little bit of oil that's been warming up, so I can now put my tofu directly onto the pan. As tofu is quite fragile, it's important at this stage just to leave the tofu to cook. If I was to start to stir it around, it would fall apart. But by cooking it in a little bit of oil on a reasonable light, the underside will get nice and crispy and that will hold it together. So after approximately 5 minutes or so, we can turn it over. Once I've turned it over, I will add the seasoning, which is some Chinese 5-spice and a little bit of soy sauce. But I'm going to leave that cooking for 5 minutes. Stage 2 is to make the sweet and sour sauce. For the sweet and sour sauce, we'll have onion, some red peppers, orange juice, ginger and garlic, tomato puree, rice vinegar, corn flour, which will thicken the sauce, and some spring onion. Heat the oil in the pan before you add the first vegetables, which will be the onion and the pepper. Now I don't want to overcook these, I just want to give them a slight cook because with a sweet and sour they should have crisp. I don't want them to be all soggy. Now the oil is warmed, I can add the onion and some peppers. Allow this to cook for approximately 3 minutes or so. Once I've made the sauce, I'm going to pour this over the tofu and it'll be served. So it really is a very, very quick dish. Now the tofu has been cooking on one side for around 5 minutes, we can turn it over. Now as you can see, the tofu is crispy on this side. So just quickly turn that over so the crispy side is facing up. And now we can season this side of the tofu. The reason that I don't season it straight away is the gas, the heat is quite high, so it would burn the spices. So we've got soy sauce, and make sure that every piece of tofu gets some soy sauce on it. Now remember, it's smoked tofu we've got in this recipe, so it will have some nice flavour. And we've got the Chinese 5-spice, and on that can go as well. Now if you want to use a different spice, you want to use paprika or cayenne pepper, anything like that, that would work very well too. So while that's cooking, we can finish off our sweet and sour sauce. So to the peppers and the onion, we have orange juice and pineapple, which will give it a real sweetness, and it'll give that the sweet part of the sour. But obviously we've got to make it a little bit sour, so we've got some rice vinegar. So the rice vinegar can go straight in. We also want to pep it up a little bit. We've got ginger and some garlic and tomato puree and our spring onions. The final stage of the sweet and sour sauce is to thicken it. So I've got a teaspoon of corn flour, which I'm going to mix with a little bit of the juice and simply add that to the sweet and sour sauce. And give it a stir. Now this will thicken up within around about a minute, and then I'll pour it over the crispy tofu pieces, and that's that. Now that the sweet and sour sauce has thickened, I simply pour it over the crispy tofu, and then it's ready to serve. Now by adding it to the pan with the crispy tofu, it'll pick up all the spices and the soy sauce that was left around the edge. Garnish with a little coriander. And that's how to make crispy sweet and sour tofu.